This video presentation is going to discuss Gothic literature. In this presentation, you're going to learn about 8 Gothic elements and 6 romantic elements. So what exactly is Gothic literature? Gothic fiction, so we know fiction is fake, right? It's made up. Gothic fiction, which is largely known by the subgenre Gothic horror, is a genre or mode of literature and film that combines fiction and horror, death, and at times romance. We're going to watch this video trailer really quick so you get an idea of what Gothic fiction, Gothic horror is.
Ghosts are real. That much I know. I've seen them all my life.
Kill him, oh grandson.
What do you mean, Maya? Edith, this is my sister.
I don't think she's the right choice.
You have to trust me.
Thomas, your bride is frozen.
I'll run you a hot bath.
There are parts of the house that are unsafe.
A house as old as this one becomes, in time, a living thing. Never go below this level. It starts holding on to things.
Has anyone died in this house? Specific deaths? Violent deaths?
In your own best interest, proceed with caution.
Keeping them alive when they shouldn't be.
If you're here with me, give me a signal. She knows everything.
Do we have to do this? Must we?
Yes. You have no idea what they do. What do you want? I have to leave. You have nowhere else to go. This is your home now.
Gosh, how spooky is that? That is Gothic literature. And you guys, I hope that you enjoy this unit. I think it's exciting. But yeah, it's a little scary. All right, let's talk about these elements of Gothic literature. And some of these you actually saw in that preview. So a lot of times Gothic literature has a setting that is in a castle or some kind of an unusual structure. The action takes place in an old castle. Sometimes it's abandoned, sometimes it's occupied. The castle often contains secret passages, trap doors, hidden rooms, staircases. The castle may be near or connected to caves, which gives it a creepy feeling by adding a haunted, mysterious element. This is not to say that all Gothic literature is in a castle, but a lot of them are. A lot of them have an atmosphere of mystery and suspense. So the story has a threatening feeling. It's enhanced by the unknown, what's coming next. Often the plot of the story is built around a mystery, such as a disappearance or elements of the supernatural. This element, which is element number 2, is also connected to 3, 4, and 5. So sometimes they're hard to distinguish the difference between. So let's go on to element 3. So an ancient curse. A lot of Gothic literature has an ancient curse. The curse might be a prophecy that might be connected with a castle or the people in the castle, like ghosts. Usually the prophecy is confusing or unclear. Let's talk for a second about what the word prophecy is. A prophetic word is something about the future. It's a foretelling. So it could be something scary that's going to happen in the future. It could also be something positive that's going to happen in the future. It could also be like an ancient prophecy. So perhaps 300 years ago, it was told that such and such might happen in the future. And maybe the story is happening in that future, but they learn of that prophecy. Okay, so here's an example. The princess will die without true love's kiss. So this is actually, that's from my favorite Disney, which is Sleeping Beauty, where the witch shows up on when she's born and says that she's going to die without true love's kiss, right? She's going to prick her finger on a needle and she will die. Also, some say that the ghost of Old Man Krebs still haunts the halls. So when you learn of an old ghost, that's an ancient curse. Okay. All right. A lot of Gothic literature has some kind of omen or vision. Okay. So let's talk about what that means. A character may have a disturbing dream, or a phenomenon may be seen as a warning of coming events. So an omen is like a bad, something that happens that makes you think that something bad is going to happen next. I don't know, a clock striking 12 is an omen. If a character has a vision, but then they realize they were hallucinating, or if they have a dream and in the dream something bad happens, those are all omens of a warning coming, right? Here's an example. If the statue of the Lord of the Manor falls over, it could be a sign that his death is imminent. Likewise, if the Lord has a dream that vividly portrays his own death, that could be an omen that he will die soon. Okay? Supernatural or other inexplicable events. So, a lot of Gothic literature has dramatic, amazing events that occur, ghosts walking, giants walking, or inanimate objects that come to life. In some stories, the events are given a natural explanation, while in others, the events are truly supernatural. This makes me think of, and you can tell I have a daughter who's 3. We watch a lot of Beauty and the Beast, and everything that surrounds the beast is dramatic. We've got inanimate objects, right? You've got the candlestick, the clock. They all are characters. The teapot and the little teacup. They are inanimate objects and they come to life. There's not a natural explanation. It's a supernatural explanation of a curse that takes place, right? Those are all, that's actually, that entire part of the castle and the beast and all of that, that is very, very Gothic literature. Okay, most Gothic literature has high emotion. You are sitting on the edge of your seat, waiting to see what happens next. So the narration might be highly sentimental. The characters are a lot of times overcome by anger, sorrow, or surprise, or terror. The characters suffer from raw nerves and a feeling of impending doom, like something bad is going to happen. Crying and emotional speeches may occur, and characters may be panicked and breathless. Okay. The reason that we're going over these, which by now you should probably know, but when you are reading a Gothic piece of Gothic literature, in order to say this is Gothic, you're going to have to find examples of these Gothic elements. Okay. So you're going to be looking for characters who suffer in this way, these emotional speeches. They're panicked, they're breathless. And that's evidence that you can say that's Gothic literature. All right. A lot of times we have women that are in distress. As an appeal to the emotions of the reader, right? So we want the reader, we want you to be like, oh no, that poor girl. The female characters often face events that leave them fainting, oh, or terrified, or screaming, or sobbing, crying. A lonely, pensive, and oppressed heroine may be the central figure of the story, so her sufferings are more pronounced and noticeable. Now, not all of the literature that you're going to be reading has a woman in distress, but many of them do. Okay. So then you have this representation of gloom and horror. So certain things like rain can be used to represent something else, like sorrow. Think terrifying sounds, terrifying sights. Think of the slamming of a door, or I hate it in scary movies when they always run up the stairs. And I'm like, no, there's no escape. Don't go up the stairs. Why do you go up? Go down. Those are representations of gloom and the horror that's coming, right? An example, in movies, it is often raining in funeral scenes to demonstrate the sadness surrounding the event. In Gothic stories, it is common for different metonymies to represent doom and gloom, mystery, or danger, right? Things like the closed door or, oh, the creaking of the door that opens up, right? So those are all representations of gloom and horror. So now let's talk about the 6 romantic elements. These are not always present. The other 8 are definitely more prominent, but some of you are going to be reading stories that do have these 6 romantic elements of Gothic literature. One is powerful love. Powerful, crazy, heart stirring, sudden emotions that create a life or death commitment. And I want you to remember back to freshman year when you read Romeo and Juliet. They have such a powerful love. They defy their parents and they eventually die for each other. That's how powerful their love is. That's one of the romantic Gothic elements. The uncertainty of reciprocation. Okay. What is my beloved thinking? Is the lover's love returned or not? So this is why I've got a picture of Ariel. He loves me not. Ariel doesn't know if Prince Eric loves her or loves her not, but she's willing to take the risk to see. So reciprocation means it's returned or not. So this would be a man or a woman who isn't sure if the other one feels the same way. This is an absolute positivity that the other person does not feel the same way. So this is the element of an unreturned love. So someone loves in vain, even if it's just for a moment. Later, the love may be returned. So for example, when a character has a crush on someone or an infatuation, but they don't even know the person, they don't know the girl, they don't know the guy, they're watching them from afar. That's an example of an unreturned love. It's also possible that your characters were in love, they were married, they were connected, and somehow they're separated. So some obstacle arises and separates the lovers. It could be geographically or it could be in some other way. So for example, again, if we think back to freshman year, Romeo and Juliet, they're parted after they get married. So they get married and then he has to take off. He kills her cousin and he gets exiled. And so they're separated. And actually, I don't think they even come back together again until they die, right? Until he sees her in the tomb, she wakes up, kills herself because he's dead. So any situation where lovers are parted, that's a romantic Gothic element. Okay. Illicit love or lust threatens the virtuous one. So we've got usually a virtuous female. Yes, it's a bit sexist, but usually the female is virtuous and holy and wonderful. And somebody else who's an evil man is desiring that girl. So the young woman becomes a target of some evil man's desire. So I have a picture here of Harry in Spider-Man. MJ becomes Harry's girlfriend. She doesn't realize that he's really the bad guy, right? She doesn't realize it until later on. This is an example of illicit love. In the same way, another romantic Gothic element can be having rival lovers, so lovers that are in opposition, or having more than one suitor, more than one guy or girl who likes the other one. So one of the lovers, or even both, can have more than one person vying for affection. So again, Mary Jane is loved by both Peter and Harry. They both want her affection and love, and they are both rivals. Okay, so these are examples of all of the different romantic Gothic elements and the elements of Gothic literature. Again, they will not always all be there. A lot of them may have a lot of them, okay? So we're gonna be moving on and we're gonna be reading some stories and practicing finding these Gothic elements.